All right, guys. So let's get started. This is a unique masterclass that we're doing. We have a Blueprint to Practice Automation customers on here. We have some guests on here. I'm going to be talking in terms of if you're a customer. So you're going to learn strategies that we're teaching at Blueprint to Practice Automation. Some that are actually new. I'm excited to come out with. And so if you're a guest here, if you have any questions, you can always jump on a discovery call with our team. They're going to be dropping links periodically in the chat on how to do that. If you are a Blueprint to Practice Automation customer and you have questions, we're going to be doing a Q&A on this topic in 2 weeks with me. So they're going to be dropping a form in the chat for you to be able to fill out what questions you want to be covered on that Q&A. And obviously you have access to our team, your account managers, your coaches, the help desk, all of the entire team if you have questions about anything we went over. But I will be having a Q&A here in 2 weeks to go over this. So let's get going. So today I'm going to talk about what's called the practice money model. So there's a few attributes to this money model. So we're going to be talking about how to increase revenue with the money model. So maximizing your unit economics by improving care plans, pricing, and LTV. I'm going to go over what LTV here in a minute if you don't understand what LTV is. I'm going to be going over niches, increasing our reach, expanding what's called our TAM, our total available market, how many people we can reach in our chiropractic practice without changing our model, and then replication and automation. These are all important. How can we systematize, deliver training, acquisition processes without and increasing our growth in our practice without taking up our time and energy. So some of this stuff is going to be recap for BPA customers, and this is intentional because we want to really make sure you're utilizing everything you have at Blueprint to Practice Automation and making sure you're utilizing the most important things what you've invested in. So if you're not, you can always reach out to a coach and we'll help you do that. So before we get started, so I want to see in the chat, what is your core constraint in your practice? Where do you feel like the biggest bottleneck is right now in your practice? Which part of your business do you wish was running more smoothly and predictable? Is it sales? Is it marketing? Is it customer success? Is it operations and fulfillment? So are you able to deliver the actual product that you're selling to your customers effectively and efficiently? Is it your team? Is it the people? Put it in the chat. I want all participations, even if you're a guest. Sales, collections. Is my collections high enough? Marketing, am I getting leads in the door? Customer success. Are my customers actually getting the clinical results that they're supposed to be and that you promised them? And then how are we fulfilling that? Are our systems efficient? And then the people. Do we have the right people in the right seat on our team to allow us to scale our practice? I know there's 80 plus people on here. I got to see 32 comments, 32 chats. Come on, let's bring it up here. All right. So, a lot of times when and a lot of you have put marketing, and marketing is a goal in our practice, right? But I think Robert, I can't remember his last name on Shark Tank. Uh, he actually said that you can actually sell yourself out of any problem in your business. And this is towards small businesses. If you have enough sales and you're getting enough money from your customers and helping them with multiple conditions, you don't have a marketing problem. A lot of times we have customers signing up for care and patients starting care, but we're not helping them with all the conditions that they have. We're not collecting enough money from them that's sitting there to collect. They're spending that money elsewhere in other businesses. And if we have the ability to increase sales and our lifetime value and how much we're collecting and cash flow in our business, our marketing isn't a problem because now we can spend a lot more on marketing. A lot of people, rely on $2,000 budgets for marketing. And the reason why they have to rely on $2,000 budgets is because they're not selling enough in their practice. And then that can actually help you reinvest into your systems, your processes, your operational, your fulfillment. You can actually start hiring better team members on your team. So sales can actually correct every single problem underneath it if we're doing it the right way. And that starts with the LTV. So what is LTV? That's the total worth of a customer to a business over a period of time of the relationship with the brand. So it's how much money they spend with you over a period of time in your practice. Because if we can increase lifetime value, that means that we actually have more revenue per customer that we can reinvest into all areas in our business. It all starts here. If your lifetime value is low, you're going to have to rely on numbers to get to the revenue that you want. And then if we have to rely on numbers, that creates a low glass ceiling. And that low glass ceiling, we tap out at the low glass ceiling and we can't get to the number we want to get to because our lifetime value is too low in our practice. I hope that makes sense. Put a yes in the chat if that makes sense. So what do people think about LTV? There's some myths out there. I've talked to thousands of doctors over the last decade. And some people get lifetime value and some don't. Some want to ignore it because they don't want to face the facts that this is the way you're going to grow your practice. They don't want to feel like they're a salesperson in their practice. You're selling at all times. You're selling your staff. You're selling the vision of your practice. You're selling your patients to be under care. You're selling yourself. You've been selling yourself your entire life. You sold yourself to your wife, your girlfriend, your partner. You're selling to your kids because you want to get them doing the things you want them to do. You are a salesman at every single moment of your life. Okay. It doesn't have to be grimy salesman. It just has to be a strategic salesman in your life. So when we think of lifetime value, some of the things that people think are it stops at the first treatment plan. So you're selling a chiropractic practice or chiropractic care plan. It's worth $2,500. And we say, okay, if I can get 50 of those a month, then I'm going to get to my financial goal. Well, that's hard to do. And that means that you have to repeat yourself 50 times over and over again every single month to get to your financial goals. And you have to refill that new patient bucket with chiropractic patients every single month. And I see people raising their hands. Maybe you're saying that's me. The truth of that is the true LTV includes stacked services, upsells, downsells, referrals, and continuity services. And I'll go over all those along the way and what those mean. Because typically a $2,500 care plan can actually end up being a $20,500 value over the lifetime of your practice if you do things correctly. Let me see in the chat, put your hand up or say yes if that's something you want to learn on how to make one patient worth $20,500 over a period of time. And I'm not going to show you the exact math. They're just estimated numbers. But if I don't see a yes, then you're on the wrong masterclass. You need to go do a different masterclass. So when we look at lifetime value, patients don't want more than one solution. That's one of the myths that we hear a lot. They don't want to buy more services. They just want to come what they came for. Well, when we look at that, the truth is most health journeys are stacked from a structural problem, a neurological problem, a metabolic problem. So I'm going to use neuropathy as an example. Neuropathy patients typically have gut health issues. They need chiropractic. Every patient needs chiropractic, right? And a lot of them have compressed L4, L5 lumbar spines that are contributing to their peripheral neuropathy. They may have diabetes and they need decompression. So chiropractic patients, majority of them have gut health issues. 83% of people walking around today have some type of autoimmune gut health, leaky gut issue. And a lot of chiropractic patients need decompression as well. Knee pain patients a lot of them are overweight, putting stress on the joints. They need weight loss. They need chiropractic. So that myth is kind of busted because every patient that walks through your door has multiple things that they need to get them better. And here's the thing, guys. If we have a patient walking through the door and it's a neuropathy patient and we just treat their symptoms with infrared device, stimulation device, we don't offer them gut health because their wellness score is high. We don't do chiropractic because their nervous system's has interference. They have decreased lumbar spine, and we don't offer decompression because we're afraid to ask for money. Guess what we're doing? We're no better than the medical doctor treating symptoms. We're just doing it naturally, but we're not treating the patient holistically to actually solve the problem. So another myth is LTV stops at one patient. Well, the truth is, one patient often equals 3 to 5 patients when you count your family, your referrals, or coworkers. So when that patient walks through the door, all of these things should be going through your head. What business does this person work at? What church do they go to? How many family members do they have? Do they have coworkers that have the same problems or similar problems or problems that you actually offer in your practice? Because a patient shouldn't just be one patient. It should be 3 to 5 patients. And this is how we're going to stack opportunity. We stack revenue from multiple services that they need. We stack revenue through referrals that they have to send into your practice. But if we're not asking for referrals or resources or networking, then we're never going to maximize the opportunity with each patient. And going back to that lifetime value, you're going to continue relying on numbers to get to your goal. And you're going to hit that glass ceiling, and you're going to wonder why that you're stressed out. You're seeing a ton of patients, but you don't feel like you're getting paid for what you should be doing, for the work you're putting in. I've heard this time and time again. I've done thousands of sales calls. We have a sales team now, but I've done thousands of sales calls, and this is exactly where a lot of people are. So I know you're, as a customer at BPA, you got to make sure you're maximizing the model, and that's how you're going to get the most out of the model. So when we look at this, another one is LTV is just theory. Well, it is a theory. It's a business theory that works really well. I don't know if any of you follow Alex or Mosey, but LTV is one of the main things he focuses on. How can we drive LTV up immediately? Because when we look at LTV, it tells you exactly how much you can spend to acquire a patient. So if your lifetime value is $15,000 per patient, then you're probably willing to spend some money to get that customer. But if your patient's only worth $2,500, you're probably not going to spend as much money to gain that patient, correct? That makes sense, right? So if I was going to give someone $5,000 and they gave me $15,000 back, that means I'm going to spend $5,000 to get that $15,000 patient. If I spent $5,000 to get a $2,500 patient, still, yeah, it's still a benefit, but it's not as scalable. You can't reinvest a lot of revenue back into your business because that last $2,000 is to pay your overhead and pay your services and your marketing. And now your profit is gone. So we have to figure out, how do we drive lifetime value up so we can actually spend more money in marketing, more revenue, more cash flow in your business. And that's how you're going to scale your practice. So what is a money model? This is one of my favorite things to go over. It's a series of offers structured to minimize CAC, so your cost of acquisition, cost to acquire a customer, and maximize growth collected, so profits collected. So what does that mean? Because when we look at businesses that use money models, businesses that intentionally design how they create, deliver, capture value, outperform those that operate by default. And by default is a kind way of saying winging it. If you're just winging it and you don't have a standard of care that you rely on that's taught to everybody in your practice, you're never going to scale your practice to where you want to go. Because if everyone doesn't understand it, then everyone isn't on the same page. And if it's just you in that consultation room and day two room, winging it and putting care plans together and just offering services when you feel confident that day, you're not going to get to the goal you want to get to. So studies, they studied 260 small to medium enterprises and found that companies practicing business model innovation, deliberate design of revenue streams, and value delivery have higher growth, profitability, and return on assets. In short, they're more successful. So we have to look at, do we have the right money model in place? Are we teaching it across the board? Are we maximizing the opportunity with that money model to drive lifetime value up, create more cash flows? We can actually reinvest into all the areas of our business so we can actually step out as an owner, as a CEO, and really run the business where you're not in the day to day, you're adjusting, you're doing day one and day two. That is called a glorified job. So we have to get you in those positions. And if you don't want to be a CEO, you hire a good CEO that actually, an operations manager is good at that. And you can actually stay clinical and do day one, day two, but you really need someone to be able to run your practice. And that takes money, that takes cash flow, that takes collections, high LTV to hire the right people. So intentional cash flow equals sustainable success. So managing, operating, and free cash flow with intention is directly linked to higher business performance. So they did multiple empirical studies showing that optimizing cash flow levers like collection timing, recurring revenue, and payment cycles leads to better financial outcomes and long-term stability. So again, we have to look at these things and making sure that we're maximizing the money model that's in place in your practice. So here's kind of a picture of like a breakdown of the money model that I'm going to go over. So we have attraction offers that bring people in our practice. Now, I'm not going to go over that. That's a whole topic in itself, masterclass in itself, that we'll probably go over later at a later date. So once we get people in the practice, what are we doing with the patients? Now, before I start this, it doesn't mean that we're trying to give services to patients that they don't need. Patients need all these services that we're going to be recommending. We're going to be doing offers and what's called value stacks, and to get people to influence their buying patterns, their habits. So when we look at that, we have value stacks, we have upsells, downsells, TTV, time to value. I'll go over that here in a minute, what that means. More value stacks in day two, and influencing people's buying patterns in day two. Once we gain a new customer, we're going to use value stacks to actually get them to do exactly what we want them to do as patients so they're successful, so they're referring and those types of things. So in the chat, tell me if you like people buying more care plans, spending more money, helping more people more clinically. Put yes in the chat. Tell me if you like having a higher close rate in day two. Tell me if you like your patients to do exactly what you want them to do when they become a patient, so they actually refer and they're showing up to their visits, they get great results, they give you testimonials. Put a yes in the chat if you like all those ideas. Okay, so you're in the right webinar. I'm just making sure you're in the right masterclass. All of these things increase lifetime value when they stack these opportunities on top of each other. So there's three ways to grow your practice. Now, before we get started with the value stack, I want you to understand that growing a business doesn't have to be complicated. There are three ways. That's it, right? They fall into three buckets. The first one is we get more patients. So we get more patients means that we get new patients walking in the door. So the more patients we have walking in the door, the more opportunities that we have. Now, the key is when we have those patients coming through the door, we make them worth more. Okay, that's the goal. And when I say worth more, help them with more things that they need help with their health. So ideally, when we want to be doing these two things together, we want to get more patients, we want to make them worth more, and we also want to bring patients in the door that are actually worth more from the beginning. So we have chiropractic patients coming in, maybe worth $2,500. How do we ascend those patients into $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 of services? And how do we bring $7,000 to $10,000 patients in the door to be able to grow your practice? Now, a lot of you already know the answers to these because we went through these, but this is just a reminder masterclass. These are things that I really wanted to cast the vision over you guys as BPA customers, because I really feel like we lose sight of what we're trying to accomplish in our practice because you're in it every single day. So it's my job to cast that vision over and over again to remind you of the things that we're trying to accomplish. And the third way to grow your practice is we get them to buy more often. So how can we get our customers to buy past the initial care plan? Once they become a patient, what's the next step? Are we letting them just walk out the door because we help them with their problem? Let's go over that. We're going to go over a lot of these things throughout the rest of the masterclass. So the next question is why niches? At BPA, obviously, we add niches to our practice. I want to cast the vision over this again and why this is important in your practice. We want to meet people where they're at. So, as a chiropractic practice, we have chiropractic patients walking in. But when we look at the numbers, we're only seeing 8 to 13% of the population with chiropractic. And some people argue with me about this, and I've looked it up multiple times. 13% is actually giving it some grace here. It's really 5 to 8, but there's some things that say 8 to 13. So we're reaching 8 to 13% of the population, which means that very small pool. And then 87% of Americans aren't being helped with chiropractic. That's a lot of people. What are they doing? I know they have problems. I know they have health issues. I know they have weight loss and gut health and ailments and knee pain and neuropathy and plantar fasciitis and shoulder pain. What are these people doing? Well, these people are going to the medical model. The medical model has done one thing right. They've niched out immunologists, cardiologists, oncologists, internists, endocrinologists, nephrologists, podiatrists, orthopedists, pulmonologists, neurologists. The list goes on and on. They've done that very effectively, and that's why they see that 87% and also probably half of the 13% that we see. They still go to the medical doctor for different things because we're not offering it in our practice. So we have this tiny sliver of alternative medicine, and part of that alternative medicine is actually chiropractic. So we're not seeing a ton of people. So what if we could do this? What if we could actually reverse that scenario and actually see the majority of people have services in our practice? And a lot of you are already doing this, but are we doing it the most effective and efficient way in our practice? And I'll go over some strategies that I hope that you're doing as customers. And if you're a guest here, these are things that you could actually start doing in your practice as well. But when we look at statistics, if we could actually add these services into our practice and we could actually reverse the scenario where the blueprint doctor actually sees the majority of people in their community because we offer these services in our office. And then now the sliver is the medical model, which is what they are made for. If you have a heart attack, don't come to me as a chiropractor because you probably need more intensive help before you actually reverse your health and make it better. And then you have your alternative medicine. So when we add niches, we can actually sell them what they want. So patients are actually looking for solutions for neuropathy, knee pain, decompression, shoulder pain, plantar fasciitis, weight loss, gut health, body contouring, fibromyalgia, all these niches. They're going to these specialists and getting drug surgeries, injections. They're not getting help. And they end up going down the rabbit hole of the spiral down of health. And they end up in their 60s in their glory years or 70s or 80s, and they're not healthy because they relied on the wrong system. So how can we take control of that? And that's why we add niches to our practice, because when we look at statistics, 1 in 5 people coming in your office for chiropractic have chronic niche pain conditions. They may have neuropathy and they have a disc issue or shoulder pain or plantar fasciitis. 8 in 10 people are taking dietary supplements trying to lose weight. Okay. 7 in 10 are on a diet. So probably some fad diet. And then 7 in 10 people are overweight or obese. Which if you think about that, if 7 in 10 of people are over or obese and 7 in 10 are on a diet, that means that they're failing. And if you look at other statistics, 83% of people walking around have some type of leaky gut or autoimmune issue they need help with. And then they start getting diagnosed with all these conditions when it's just really leaky gut. So there's a lot of opportunity walking in your door already with your current customers. And there's a lot of people out there in that 87% that are looking for solutions for niches. And when we talk about niches, it's $1 trillion industry, which means that I'm about to get to the good stuff. So make sure that you stick with me. It's $1 trillion industry when we add all the niches up. Chiropractic's a $20 billion industry. Neuropathy's a $50 billion. Knees, $106 billion. Body contouring is almost a $40 billion. Weight loss is a $350 billion industry. Gut health, almost a $50 billion industry. Decompression's 110 billion, shoulder pain's 50, plantar fasciitis is 50. There's a lot of niches out there that have a lot of opportunity that these patients currently are going and spending this amount of money in the medical model trying to get help with these conditions. So I don't know, I wasn't born at night, but not last night, whatever that saying is, but that's opportunity for us to be able to follow. So when we look at that, if we start bringing niches into our practice, I want to go over what's called the BPA Revenue pyramid money model. So what that money model is, and this is our customers have seen this, and this is going to be a great review for you guys. Make sure you're mastering this. I still run across customers that say that they don't even know what the BPA revenue pyramid money model is. So when we look at this, we have chiropractic patients, all right? So you should be doing reactivation campaigns with your chiropractic patients to get them to come back in for chiropractic. But what the first strategy is if we go statistics, 83% have leaky gut and autoimmune, 7 in 10 are overweight. So 7 in 10 or 7 or 8 out of 10 people walking in your door with chiropractic that want chiropractic have some type of metabolic issue that you can upsell them into metabolic services. Now, we all know that thoughts, traumas, toxins has been around a long time in the chiropractic philosophy, right? So we have to let's abide by it. Why are we just treating them with chiropractic? The environmental factors alone in today's age. I mean, I've been practicing for 20 years. The chiropractic adjustment is less effective today than it was 20 years ago, and it's not because the chiropractic adjustment has changed. It's the food supply, it's stress, it's go, go, go lifestyle. It's a lot of demand in life. So it's harder to hold adjustment. So we have to address all areas of the patient's health. So upselling them into metabolic services is an easy strategy. And then we can upsell chiropractic patients into pain niches. So decompression, shoulder pain, plantar fasciitis, knee pain. Those are all niches that patients walk in your door. 1 out of 5 people walk in your door have some type of ailment that they need help with. So when we look at that, there's these 2 strategies alone can actually double and triple your practice just by utilizing your current database of patients that are coming in your office currently for treatment, past patients that come in for chiropractic, and all your new patients every single month. So just by doing that strategy alone, double, triple your practice just by increasing your lifetime value. Going back to LTV, this is the key. We have to drive LTV up, create cash flow, create more money to utilize, reinvest back into your practice, more marketing, your ability to spend more money to gain a customer and buy a customer. That is the key to growing your practice. If I simplified it all together, make your patients worth more, get more patients in the door to do that, and then make them buy multiple times. The 3 ways to grow your business. So then we actually start marketing these niches into your community. We start marketing neuropathy, knee pain, and plantar fasciitis, or shoulder pain, or decompression. And we actually start bringing these types of patients in your office that are actually worth $6,000, $7,000, $10,000, $12,000 when they have multiple conditions. And now we have a patient that comes in your door that's actually worth more. So again, going back to the rules, get more patients, make them worth more, bring patients in that are worth more, and then get them buying multiple times. So then we actually take those patients and downsell them into metabolic because the neuropathy patient has good health. Remember, the knee pain patient has weight loss issues. The weight loss patient has gut health issues. And every pain niche like neuropathy or decompression or knee pain, plantar fasciitis, all those patients need chiropractic as well. So it's this pyramid that you follow, the BPA revenue pyramid. That's a system. This is a standard of care. If you wrote out all your scenarios for each move, so chiropractic into metabolic, we have a simple 1-page wellness survey. If you're not using that, make sure you start using it. It's a wellness survey that gives you a score. And from that score, it actually shows a chart on the metabolic severity chart, just like your stages of degeneration chart that you have on your wall right now as a chiropractor. And it tells you exactly what the score means from an inflammation standpoint, from a degenerative standpoint, for muscle and tissue and joints. And you can actually teach the patients, like, this is what this means when your metabolic health is at this level. This is why we need to add it on. This is how it's going to help your adjustment. This is how it's going to help your knee pain. This is how it's going to help your neuropathy or decompression. So it's a standard of care that you have to commit to because we're not doing the patient a benefit if we skip these parts of their health. And a lot of times it's because we're afraid to ask for money. So put it in the chat if it's your ability to, you're afraid to ask for more money per patient. Put it in the chat. So maybe the reason why you don't do this. But yes or no. Like, yes, I'm afraid to. No, I'm not. Great. I'm glad we see some no's, like you're doing it already. But can we take it to the next level and can we maximize it? I see some yeses and I see that as well. And it's fine, right? We have to start somewhere, but if you follow the guideline and follow it to a T and keep practicing it, role play it. You'll get better and better at it, just like anything in life. You're not going to get it down the first time. The first patient may say no. But that's the cool thing is like, let's say you bring a neuropathy patient in at the top of that pyramid for a pain niche, and they say, hey, you know what? I can't afford this. Okay, well, we can just do neuropathy by itself and we can come back to the metabolic and chiropractic later and we can add that on later when the time's right. Or it's like they need actually something that's really low of service. You can actually downsell them into metabolic and chiropractic. So we have to upsell, we have to downsell. Those are two strategies that we want to make sure that we're doing because if we let people walk out because they can't afford your top plan, we're not doing them justice either. We're letting them leave your practice when we can actually be helping them with something. So it's get them under chiropractic care, metabolic care at bare minimum, or just metabolic care. Maybe they're super inflamed and that's a great start. We downsell them into that metabolic and then add the services later once they can afford it. So this is something key, guys. I'm gonna be doing a Q&A on this in 2 weeks. So make sure that you're filling out the form that we put in the chat and make sure that you're filling out the form, whatever questions you have. We'll go over examples if you want and show you exactly what we need to be doing to maximize this. If you're a guest on here, that Q&A is just available to customers. But if you have questions, just jump on a discovery call with our team. They're going to be putting that in the chat as well to schedule those. So I love this strategy. So it's called TTV, time to value. So let's go over this. So this is something that we want to do at the very beginning, right before day 2. When we look at the time to value, the psychology of time to value. So the goal of this is we create instant perceived value and emotional momentum. So we're creating momentum in the sales process or in the patient experience process. Patients make decisions emotionally and justify logically. I'll say that again. Patients make decisions emotionally and justify logically. So when we're in day 1 and day 2 trying to sell features and benefits, it's not going to work. They're going to buy emotion. They buy out of emotion. The faster they feel results, the stronger the buying confidence. So if we can find a way to increase results quickly, that patient is more likely to change their buying patterns and buy multiple times, be more compliant, and buy faster. So faster wins trigger trust, compliance, and repeat purchasing. So again, faster wins trigger trust. So if we get them better fast, they trust you faster. And that's all a sales process is them connecting with you. Increasing compliance when they become a customer. Put a yes if you want your customers to be compliant. We all want them to be compliant. Raise my hand here. And repeat purchasing. How many of us want them to buy multiple times? We want them to buy multiple times because again, let's go back. Getting new patients, making them worth more, increasing their lifetime value, more cash flow, reinvesting into all the areas of our business to grow our business and scale. So statistically, buyers who experience value early are 2 to 3 times more likely to purchase and repurchase. So again, if we can show value early, they're going to buy 2 to 3 times more. So if we can actually show them value before day 2, they're willing to buy 2 to 3 times more services from you. So if we go back to that upsell strategy, chiropractic to metabolic to pain niche, that's like 2 to 3 actually more services than they came in for. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to go over that here in a minute. So stay with me on what we're going to do to actually get them to do this. So products showing results within 1 week have 40% higher repeat purchase rates. So if we can show them products showing results within 1 week, what if we can show results within 10 minutes? How cool would that be? And I'm going to go over that here in a minute. 80% of buyers who can visualize progress are very likely to buy and buy again. So it's same statistics, just worded differently. So our focus is patients make decisions emotionally, logically, justify logically. Faster they feel results, the stronger their buying confidence. Faster wins trigger trust, compliance, and repeat purchasing. So let's go over how we're going to do that. So I'm not going to go over all 5 of these steps. I'm going to concentrate on 1. I'm going to concentrate on day 2 win. How can we get a day 2 win? So before they go in and go over recommendations, how can we get a fast result, increase trust, increase compliance, and get them to buy 2 to 3 times more in 5 to 10 minutes? It sounds crazy, right? But we can do that. So we have three ways. So the stem pod, and this is something that as a BPA customer, you should be doing this in the other processes that we're teaching you. As a guest, obviously you're not going to understand our process and what we teach, but this is just a strategy you can use going back to your practice tomorrow. Um, Stem pod is a machine that actually can take someone from pain level 10 to a 2 pretty quickly, within 5 minutes. You can use it on shoulder pain or knee pain or back pain or neuropathy or actually migraines, or you can hit the vagal nerve and actually decrease anxiety. There's a lot of different protocols with this technology that you can actually do before they go into day 2 to influence their buying patterns. Customers are doing this all the time. They're using StemPod. They get a fast result. Patients actually say, wow, they know what they're doing. And I want to buy from them because they know what they're doing. I actually feel better in 5 minutes. I have multiple videos from some of our customers doing this, and a couple of them have patients crying because they haven't been out of pain in years. Now, as a BPA customer, if you go to our vendors page, you have $500 off. You can put the code blueprint, all caps, you get $500 off the machine. So do that. And if you're a guest, if you go through our discovery process with our team, we'll give you the code so you can actually buy it and get $500 off. But you have to go through our process and learn about what we do. So the second way is a technique called trigenics. So Dr. Blaine Kingsbury is one of our, he's head of coaching at Blueprint Practice Automation, and he actually teaches this technique. It's a neuromuscular technique. He's been on multiple Olympic teams across the world teaching this. But he can do, shoulder pain, knee pain, back pain, a lot of different things. You can actually get within one visit, get dramatic clinical results. And again, we want to do this right before day 2. Now, there is a 4-visit protocol that you can use to get people completely out of pain and increase function. We don't want to do the whole thing because you don't want to get them better before day 2, right? I know that sounds weird, but it's something that you don't want to do. So Trigenics is another great option. And then Hydrowave, which is a shockwave device, it is the best on the market. We've done all the research. It's actually new and innovative to the market. You don't have to replace the heads on it or nothing like that. But as a BPA customer, you get $5,000 off that machine. So that's actually on our vendors page as well. You can also use that in multiple different ways in your practice. So these are 3 ways that we can increase time to value before day 2. So they get the treatment. The easiest way is StemPod. It's not expensive. It works really well. And you're probably thinking like, what if it doesn't work? What if the patient doesn't get the result that we want them to get? You're going to have a couple people that are like that, but they're just really chronic. Maybe their body is just dealing with a lot of things, super inflamed. And this is how you handle that. Hey, Mary, what I want to do is I want to do a treatment before we meet and go over your recommendations. And what I'm looking for is how your body responds to that. It's not going to say if you're going to be a patient or not. It just gives me data that I need moving forward with your care to make sure we're doing the right things to get you better. So it sets you up for the couple that maybe don't get the result. They don't get a result, but great. That's exactly what I needed to know. And you move on. That's how you're going to get around the concept of time to value, because you will have a couple people that don't get results before day 2. But going back to the strategy, by doing this, we're increasing they're getting fast results. Their psychological aspect of going into day 2, they're going to spend more money because they need more services. They're going to be more compliant as a patient because they know what you're doing. They know what you're doing. And then they're going to refer and they're going to show up their visits because they're excited. So this is a strategy that you want to make sure that you implement into your practice. So the second thing, so before I get started with the next thing, put yes if that's exciting for you to be able to do in your practice. Awesome. And again, I'm going to go over questions that you can put in this form that we put in the chat. I'm going to go over those in 2 weeks, and I definitely will answer all your questions about any of these strategies. And if you have questions about the strategy or just want to learn more about BPA as a guest, you can jump on our discovery process. They're going to be dropping links in there to schedule that 15-minute call with our team. Very non-committal, non-salesy. We're just going to go over your goals and what you're trying to figure out, what you're trying to accomplish in your practice. So the next strategy is anchoring. the three-tier price strategy. So as a BPA customer, we have not taught this. And this does not mean you go abandon what you're doing. It's probably working. This has different scenarios you can use this in your practice. And I'll go over those. So what does price anchoring do? So tier preference split. So studies suggest that with a three-tier structure, approximately 11% are going to go to your premium tier, 66% are going to go to your middle tier, so the majority of the middle tier, and then 23% opt for your lower tier. This pattern is known as the Goldilocks effect. It's commonly cited it's commonly cited as good, better, best pricing literature, and demonstrates how anchoring naturally drives most buyers to the middle option. And it also gives you an opportunity to catch those people that can't afford your standard of care in the middle, and then you capture them into a lower care plan. If you don't feel like you're confident on downselling them after you present the main care plan. And also you have the 11% that go into your high premium tier. Not a lot of people are going to choose that. This one needs to be something where you definitely feel like that no one's going to pick, but you're going to have a small percentage that want the best and they end up picking it as well. So companies using tiered pricing versus single price models experience substantial financial benefits. 44% higher average revenue per user across multiple industries, 27% higher conversion rates when tiers are clearly aligned with value. So tiered pricing allows each patient or customer to self-select their comfort level while maximizing perceived value. Again, if you're using the single pricing models and you're doing phenomenal, do not change it. But this is a structure to start thinking through of like, how can I use this philosophy sometimes as I'm navigating downselling into different tiers and downselling into other services? And sometimes maybe it's a practice. You practice it and see how effective it is for 2 weeks, and see if you're like, hey, my revenue did go up. People are actually picking the higher tier. Now, if a lot of people are picking your highest tier, you're not priced high enough, which is the thing, which comes to the next slide. So the pricing spacing on the good, better, best models is your best needs to be 50% higher than your baseline price. So your better is your baseline price. Now, your better is your care plan that you normally would present, right? Your best is like additional niches. Maybe it's a lifestyle makeover, things that like you normally wouldn't offer. Maybe it's more time with the doctor or more time with the staff. There's a lot of different ways, and I'm not going to get into the exact ways. I'll give you a couple examples that I put together that are not set in stone. These are just things that like ideas to go out there. And then you have your good, which is 25% below your average baseline price. So this spread creates clear differentiation while maintaining price integrity, guiding most buyers toward your mid-tier sweet spot. Because it's a rule of thumb. Most people are going to go to the middle because they're not going to spend all the money at the top, and they don't want to be good because it's not going to really solve their problem. It's just going to get them started towards that. But you're going to capture the people that maybe couldn't afford your care plan. That's the best opportunity for to fix their problem, but they're going to get into the smaller one because they need to do something to get momentum and stop regressing in their condition. So here's an example. So here's an example of a neuropathy patient. So we have a regenerative healing. So they need chiropractic. They have neuropathy nutrition, online education, infrared, microcurrent, decompression. They have a second niche, a third niche, a lifestyle makeover. It's almost $20,000. Most people aren't going to spend 20 grand. There's going to be some that will because they want help with all the niches. They want help with their lifestyle, and they'll spend the 20 grand with you to get help. And then we have our functional health, which is basically chiropractic, all the neuropathy components. They needed decompression, and that's going to be the best offer to fix their problem. And then your last one is going to be chiropractic, neuropathy, nutrition, and online education. Very bare minimum, gets them into something. They couldn't afford the middle plan, but they need to do something for their health, and that's the good plan. So you got good, better, best. Or no, best, better, and good. So you have to go in that order. You always want to start with your best offer because it price anchors. That's what the price anchoring is for. Because if you have a $20,000 care plan, it pushes them to the middle, and then you have your last care plan, which pushes them to the middle, and most people pick the middle. Put yes if that makes sense to you. And this could be trained in an entire hour. So just top level vision, concept. that you could be using in your practice. Okay, awesome. And if it doesn't, we'll be going over questions that you have. Make sure you fill out the form um, for 2 weeks when we go over that. So the next strategy is value stack strategy. So what a value stack is, when we look at the psychology behind free services, that's what a value stack is. Value stacks are free services, reciprocity and gift principle. So people naturally feel compelled to reciprocate when giving something of value. Offering a free service builds goodwill and trust, making patients more open to purchasing your main offer. So reduce risk, barrier lowering. So providing a free add-on or small service reduces perceived risk. So it serves as a proof of concept for your quality, easing hesitation, and encouraging first-time buyers to move forward. So if I said, hey, if you sign up for Blueprint to Practice Automation, I will give you 6 months free coaching with Dr. Gumm. That's worth usually $10,000. Well, if someone's motivated, they're like, wow, I actually want that. That's free. I'm going to get that for free. So it lowers the perceived price of the original price. So when we look at that, how do we use price anchoring? So when we look at value stacking and anchoring, bundling free services or bonuses with your main offer increases perceived total value. Your buyer subconsciously tallies the extras, like what you're giving away. I'm getting X in bonuses for free. This is a great deal. So goes back to like people doing body contouring in their practice. People come in, they do the body contouring session, they lose 4 inches in one session, they're excited. Obviously, body contouring isn't the way that they need to change their lifestyle. So what we do is we give away the gut health kit or the weight loss kit, a value of $1,500 to $2,000. Say, hey, if you start today, body contouring care plan is $2,500. And if you start today, we're going to give you the weight loss program for free that's going to accelerate your results. Because what I just did, I bundled two things together that they actually need, but I gave one away for free to get them motivated to buy the other. So same thing. So this makes your core offer appear not only affordable, but generous, creating an emotional incentive to upgrade or buy now. So how can we use these value stacks? So one of the ways that you can actually use it is in your new patient show-up rate. So put yes if you've had patients at some time in your practice, your show-up rate was actually struggling. At some time. Doesn't mean it had to be now, at some time. At BPA, we have people that don't show up to their calls as well. So we actually implement these same strategies in our business model. So one of the ways you can actually do, so patient schedules for a consult, free consultation or a nerve scan, whatever that offer was. And what you do is like when you send that reminder text and say, or confirmation text and say, hey, Mary, we're excited for you to be able to come into the office for our services to be evaluate your condition, yada, yada, yada. Make sure you come energized and excited for your visit. Here's a free Starbucks gift card. Get caffeinated before your visit. So what I just did is I went back to that reciprocity rule that we use. Is if I give something away, people feel obligated to show up. And this works really well at Blueprint. We do this with every customer that schedules a consultation with us. We send them a free Starbucks gift card because we actually just want to give them something for their time. And then what happened was our no-show rate went down. The people that were going to no-show actually opened up the conversation to be able to talk to our staff and say, hey, I'm going to be able to make it on Monday. Can I reschedule? So conversations started opening up just by giving something away, creating reciprocity. So they reciprocate and feel obligated to communicate or show up at the same time. And you can also incentivize people for showing up actually at the visit and say, okay, Mary, you're scheduled for your free nerve scan for neuropathy. When you show up to your visit, after your visit's done, you're going to get a free sample of our NeuroSoothe, which is actually going to help decrease your pain and symptoms. And we're going to give you a Neuropathy Healing Secrets book that actually is going to teach you about your condition, some things you can start doing at home to alleviate your symptoms while we get you better. So again, we're incentivized, or if you have a book that you've already written, you can use that. These are just examples. So it gives them incentive to show up because we're going to give them something of value when they show up to their visit. This is a good way to decrease no-shows. Or you can even say, if you have a lot of people rescheduling, you can actually say, as long as you don't reschedule, this is what you get. So if you have a lot of reschedule problems, whatever problem you have in your new patient show up rate or reschedules, you attach it to that and fix it. So put yes if that makes sense. Okay, awesome. So the next way we can actually use value stacks is in day two. So going back, we use the TTV, time to value concept strategy to get fast results for them to come into day two excited, into the day two excited because we did it right before day two. And then we start using value stacks to incentivize people to sign up for care. Now, I'm not saying that we have to do this for every patient. You have it in your back pocket when you need it because you know good and well how many people have been in a day two and have a patient just on the cusp of signing care and you needed something to push them over the edge. Put yes. Excuse me. Come on, guys. There's more people in that, unless you're just a closing machine. So, hey, Mary, I know you're contemplating on starting care. You and Chris are contemplating on starting care. I don't do this a lot, but I'm willing to do it for you. What I'm willing to do is we have a rapid release relief bonus. I think you'll benefit from it. I know you have neuropathy, and there's a device that I didn't include in your care that I feel like it's an upgraded service. And we're going to give you 3 shockwave treatments to accelerate your healing, reduce pain, and restore mobility faster. That's a value of $600. If you start care today, I will give it to you for free. Um, don't tell anyone. I don't do this a lot, but I'll do that for you. Or hey, Mary, I have 3 body contouring sessions. I know on your paperwork you said you had inability to lose weight and you're trying to lose weight. I know you're here for chiropractic, but what I'm willing to do, we do have a body contouring machine. Most people lose, 4 to 6 inches in 25 minutes. Throwaway statement. Target stubborn fat, tone skin, and you'll get visible results after your first visit. That's a value of $600. I'm willing to give it to you for free today if you start care today. Um, Same thing with your results maintainer bonus. 3 months of maintenance care, continuity care. Okay, I'm willing to give you 3 months of maintenance care once you're done with care. Three free months to maintain your results, to the value of $450. I'm willing to give this to you if you start care today. Let's say it's a $15,000 care plan. You could bundle all 3 of those together and say, hey, I'm willing to give you all 3 of these. Okay, you're giving up $1,650 in services to gain a $15,000 care plan. I did this all the time in my practice, especially with body contouring. If you have a neuropathy patient in the office and it's a male and the female's here and you offer the body sculpting and contouring, she's pushing her husband saying, you're starting care today because I want that. So this is just ways you can use value stacks throughout your process. And they don't have to be these services either, but don't chintz on the service. It has to be a value. It has to be true value. So make sure when you do that, it's true value that you're giving away. So the second thing, the third way we can use value stacks is once a patient becomes a patient. Put yes in here if you want your patients to show up their visits. Put yes in here if you want your patients to get good results. Put yes in here if you want your patients to refer patients in. And put yes in here if you want your patients to give you testimonials. Easy questions, right? So this is the way we use value stacks in there. So when patients become a patient, we incentivize them to do the exact the things we want them to do. Mary, if you do a food log for 30 days, if you show up to all your visits for the first 30 days, if you actually give me 5 names from coworkers, family members we can invite in for free consults or free nerve scans or whatever it is you want to offer. And at the end, at the end of that 30 days, if you give us a quick testimonial, I will give you A, B, C, you can pick whatever it may be. I'll give you all 3. Whatever you feel like that's valuable, because now going back to lifetime value, we're stacking opportunities within our patients. Patients come in, we've already got them to buy more services. We've used value stacks and TTV to influence their buying. Now we're influencing their habits. Once they become a patient, they referred people in, they did their food log, they showed up to the visits, which means they're probably going to get results. And they're going to give you a testimonial and they're going to refer more people in. We're influencing their patterns and their activities and what we want them to do. This is a great way to use value stacks in that scenario. So running low on time, so I'm going to hurry through the end. So the next thing is recurring revenue. So we want to put our patients into recurring revenue services. If it's just $39 a month, maybe they have access to your team about health questions, or if it's $187 a month where they're getting visits every single month or every single week for maintenance for whatever condition that came in. Because when we look at businesses increasing adopting recurring revenue models, subscriptions, and memberships tend to enjoy more predictable and stable cash flow. Recurring revenue is a classic example of an intentional money model. You design your revenue system to generate continuous compounding cash. Predictable income allows you for better cash forecasting, reinvesting in long-term growth. I think I had 180 some people paying me 100 and I think 60 or $170 a month. And this is for just for neuropathy patients back in my office. They came in for chiropractic. So that pays for your marketing, your overhead. You know that you have 30 grand coming in, reoccurring every single month on reoccurring revenue. So stability scales, practices with recurring revenue foundations outperform those relying on single transactions. So if you're just selling chiropractic care plans or just selling neuropathy care plans, you don't have any of these things stacked in and using these strategies, you're shooting yourself in the foot from a scalability standpoint. So some examples of monthly recurring revenue. We have chiropractic, pretty self-explanatory, 2 to 4 times a month. Neuropathy, 2 to 4 times a month. Maybe they're getting a modality. Same thing with knee pain, same with decompression. Maybe it's body contouring, maybe it's shockwave. We have a pelvic floor niche coming out that I'm excited about. That's my plant and my seed there. I'm not going to say much more about that. But these are things you need to be doing to create recurring revenue models for your business. So that is the money model overview. I'm going to go over the tech stack next, so don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss this, but that is what we doing the attraction, the value stacks, the upsells, the downsells, the TTV, the value stacks, the customer getting new customers, and value stacks to influence them what they're doing once they become a customer. That's how we're stacking opportunity in our lifetime value. So next, it's 5 minutes, and I'll get through this, is our tech stack. This has nothing to do with our money model, but this has everything to do to scaling operations, saving time and energy in your operations, and exiting yourself out of the day-to-day. Because when we look at the chiropractic business model, it's broken, guys. Chiropractic's not broken. The adjustment's the most powerful philosophy out there, bear none. But the business model is broken. So if we look at the business model, we have telemedicine, $143 billion industry. SaaS model, $160 billion industry, $255 billion industry for digital health. And the AI industry is $371 billion industry. What do those 4 industries have in common other than just producing ridiculous cash? They're driven by technology, systemization, and automation. This is the basis of Blueprint to Practice Automation. If you're not using these things I'm about to go over in your practice as a customer, and if you're a guest and you're obviously not using these things, you may be using them on your own, but it's going to blow your mind on how you can really save time, energy, and scale your practice by using these things. Because when we look at the data, technology is reshaping how healthcare organizations scale. From AI to digital health, the technology enables cost reduction, productivity gains, and scalable care delivery. However, success depends on proper adoption, integration, and workflow alignment. So that being said, the tools that we have come out with Blueprint to Practice Automation, you have to work at them. They're not going to jump in your office and just be used automatically. You got to use them. You got to practice them. You got to train on them. You got to get with our coaches. You got to get with our team and make sure to utilizing the assets that you have in place to scale your practice, because AI and automation projected to yield $200 to $360 billion in global savings, enables cost reduction and scaling without linear expense growth. 83% of healthcare executives are piloting Gen AI. 77% expect productivity gains from AI-driven automation. So that's what Blueprint to Practice Automation does. We use technology to scale a business model that's so strong philosophically, but so weak from a business standpoint. Because if you look at digital health and workflow impact, adoption improves staff performance and reduce workload. Even source limited practice, private practices saw efficiency gains. So we're all private practices, right? Spending on AI or on IT, U.S. healthcare invests $300 billion annually in software. It's 8% of the total spending. Technology is now a core operational pillar. So if you're on here and you're like, I avoid technology at all costs, you're going to stay in the same position. You're going to get passed up. You have to adopt it. We've been using technology and automation and systems and video and SaaS and digital health for a decade before it was even popular in healthcare. That's how long Blueprint has been using it. Because when we look at it, telemedicine efficiency, 92% of cases resolved on the first visit using telehealth. That's why we have the automated patient education system that we enroll patients in that can communicate with the team at any time they want. We solve a problem because they have access to your team from a virtual setting in the software. Digital transformation drives scalability when technology, training, and workflow alignment work in harmony. So when we look at BPA, we're scalable because we're using tech for our systems and tools. So we've been using the SaaS model for a decade. We use the SaaS model, $160 billion industry, to train staff, to train doctors. You can train on your own time. You can train multiple times. You don't have to fly anywhere. When we look at it, every team member learns the same standard tools and messaging. It eliminates live training drift and improves accuracy across team members because you know exactly what they're learning. Studies show that e-learning increases knowledge retention by 20 to 60% versus 8 to 10% in-person training. That's why we have been doing it for a decade at Blueprint. We have built the model off of the data. I didn't make this stuff up, guys. I did it off the data and the trends of where healthcare was going. 74% of employees prefer self-paced learning for flexibility. Your staff could train at home on the weekends. If they need more training on day one, day two, or the neuropathy niche or weight loss, they can actually do it on their own time. Online training also increases employee productivity by 15 to 25%. Who on here put yes if you want all those things to happen within your team? Awesome. So it reduces travel cost. It saves organizations training expenses. You don't have to fly places. Blended learn. So combine digital models with live coaching. Why do you think Blueprint has modules online and how you can jump on a coaching call live? You have modules, you can jump on these masterminds. You have modules, you can come to live events. Because when you look at blended learning, it improves learning outcomes by 30% on average. So if you're not showing up to events as a customer, you're literally decreasing your productivity and your team's productivity because it is proven that if you have modules and live training, you learn more effectively, 30% on average. So if you want to give up that 30% and not come to events and not be on these master classes and not getting on coaching calls, you're literally decreasing your chances to be successful at Blueprint. So it offers the perfect balance of efficiency and human connection. And that's why when we look at things, it's intentional. Think about how you process your patients in the automated seminar format. You use video in the SaaS model to automate your process, but you do the introduction and close it out. It's a blended model. People learn better from the blended model. It's more effective. That's why you're going to close more using this model than doing your live presentations. Now, there's a couple people that are great speakers, but it takes your time and energy. And you can staff do this. Why do you think we do the same thing in day one, day two? We automate the day one, we automate the day two. Then we have a human connection with the consult and exam and recommendations. It saves you time and energy. Why do you think we have the online education portal that you enroll your patients into the curriculum for that niche? They get taught automated in an automated format digitally. They have access to your team and yourself into a virtual format. Telemedicine solves 92% of problems on the first touch. If patients have a problem, they can actually reach out to you. You can solve it right then, decreasing refund requests and so forth. It's 3 employees in one. And then we have FDA cleared protocols and product distribution. So we have our private label product distribution team and systems. We even we're moving our distribution this week. And we're actually using our new systems are using AI to look at the order, and it tells us if anything is not in the order or if everything is in the order. It tells us AI is going to look over our orders. We're using AI every single day to make our systems and make your experience better at Blueprint. And why do you think that you go through the phone curriculum and simulators? You go through the curriculum for the information, you test yourself with the simulator, and you role play with the AI. You go through the day one, day two curriculums, you test yourself with the simulator, you go through the role plays with AI. And then you can actually upload it into AI and analyze it if you need more help there. And if you still need human touch, you can schedule a platinum coaching call with our coaches to have that human connection. You went through the curriculum, you test yourself, you go through AI technology, you get on a live call, human touch, increasing your productivity by 30%. See, if you see why we've created Blueprint and why we've done things intentionally, you have to follow the model to get the most out of the model. So that's why we double down. We double down on AI tools from purpose, your mission, vision, values, your core values, your 3-year vision, 1-year vision. All these AI tools are in the platform to be able to use, from digital marketing to blogs and SEO, marketing, email marketing. We're going to continue adding to that list. We have things in the pipeline right now. And then we're coming to the mastermind, masterclass trainings, what we're doing now. Human touch. So getting to these masterminds, getting to these masterclasses are important. And then once we've actually created these systems and processes to save you time and energy, we analyze your business through our analytical process and then tell you exactly what part of your business. We have 72 business tools, CEO tools that you can actually use. If you're not utilizing these things, guys, go through the assessment, get with your account manager, see what you need to work on. Simple, guys. You have invested into a model that's taken chiropractic. We've added $1 trillion niche model. We've added almost $1 trillion tech model, telehealth, SaaS, digital health, AI. We've taught you how to be a CEO. Once you get yourself exited out of the practice, it increases freedom, increases your patient visit average collections. That's better care, higher PVA collections, more freedom. And that's how you maximize the model of BPA. I hope I casted the vision over. Let me see, get in here real quick live. So I hope I casted the vision for you guys to be able to understand what you have at your fingertips at BPA. If you don't know how to utilize things, you have to train. You have to deep dive. You have to study. It's not a one and done thing. And we're always coming out with new things for you guys to be able to use. And once we do those things, get with our team to make sure you know how to utilize it. There is a lot of stuff, but you're not using every tool that we come out with. But you want to make sure that you're studying what you have at your fingertips, because we have people that leave Blueprint. They're like, oh, I just don't do neuropathy anymore. What? You're not, just because you're not doing neuropathy anymore means that you're not doing Blueprint? That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. There's so many benefits to BPA that if you just bought that one thing, cost the admission of BPA. And we'll continue on to invest into the business. If you're a guest, schedule a discovery call. We'll go over your goals and so forth. If you're a BPA customer, we're gonna have a Q&A in 2 weeks. You can also get with the Rams and coaches. But guys, Blueprint is always gonna be the leader in the industry. It's never gonna change. No one's gonna beat us. So we're gonna continue to invest into you, but you gotta invest into yourself. God bless. We'll talk to you guys soon.